Hey guys, Kaiser here. I would just like to do a quick video. I guess it's not going to be that quick. It's going to be about 20 minutes long here about who I personally believe to be the best solo queue champion in the game. Obviously, as you can see right now, it's Talon, and throughout the course of the video, I'll actually be telling you why I believe it to be Talon, how he's the best, and different way, and how the general way to play him and everything like that. So obviously we're starting here, just normal. As you can see, I'll show you my build. I always start actually with Talon, just like I do with an ADC since the nerf of boots. I start with a longsword and then 2 pots. The reason I do this is because if I'm having a hard time in lane with Talon, I can go right into a Vamp Scepter on my first back, or if I'm doing really well, I can just go right to my Brutalizer. So obviously you got there, so you can get your lifesteal or your brutalizer. Sometimes you can get both, obviously, if you're doing really well, and because obviously the vamp you need for the bloodthirst that you'll be getting eventually. Now we're just doing the normal here. We have our Jhin as our jungle, and so he's up there protecting. I don't know why Pant's there, and I don't know why I'm here, to be honest. I guess it doesn't really matter. But we do see this Rengar. We did see him. Maybe we didn't see him right there. We will see him though. I remember, oh yeah, that's right, he runs up here, and so Pantheon sees him. I don't know. I think actually at this time we were talking in all chat, talking to Rengar. It's kind of funny, but I do move up just in case he wants to come up. Because of the fact that we saw Rengar, we decided it was probably a better idea to stay. Sorry about that. Stay and watch and just start on blue buff at 155 rather than start the wolf camp. Just because we didn't know if they were doing a late invade or if they were going to just if Rengar was just peeking around. Although I don't think it was smart for Rengar to do that. And because we do have Panth here, I'm just going to shoot my W in there. Just do a quick rake, and obviously they'll have more than enough damage to take that out with the smite. No problem there. Alright, so I'm up against an Ahri, and as we know, Talon is an AD caster. For the most part, he's an assassin. He counters almost any AP champion, let's be honest there. And the reason I say almost is because obviously skill is better, and you see I do miss some last hits at the beginning here. I start off pretty weak. But the reason why I really like him for solo queue, and by no means am I saying that he's the best champion in the game. Obviously, you see there's a quick gank by Hecarim. I didn't have to burst a flash or anything. I knew they went just because Ahri just hit level 2. I knew there wouldn't be enough damage there to stop me. More than likely just because Ahri probably got her charm second. I don't remember if she actually did, but that's more than likely what she did. I'm staying back just because I believe Hecarim to be somewhere in these bushes just waiting for me to come back because I was low health. So I figured it'd probably be a smart idea to wait for some of the pots to come back. And now, one thing you gotta remember is W is you want to get off as much poke as possible because you gotta dodge that second one. Or on the way back, it's more important to dodge. You gotta poke as much as possible when you get your combo, just because no matter what, Ahri's not gonna be able to out damage you early game unless she builds armor, which obviously then she will lose out on damage herself. And then we see a Panth up here, just watching. All right. Anyways, we'll click on me here. I don't know how that one hit me, but like I was saying, I believe Talon to be the best solo queue, and by no means am I saying he's the best champion in the game, and by no means am I saying he is, the what am I saying? And by no means am I saying he's OP or overplayed or anything like that. Obviously, a lot of people do think he's OP. Keep in mind, this video is after the nerf, although it wasn't like what most would consider a legitimate nerf. And if you're wondering why I'm staying in the lane, is just because Jhin's right there, obviously, and I believed the fact that I don't think, as long as I can dodge her Q, I should be okay. But with the wave slightly pushing, and there we go. I probably shouldn't have been so ballsy with the fact that her Ignite was up, and I didn't know where Hecarim was because I didn't have any wards out. But I did see a perfect opportunity to silence her, and that silence, that E obviously is the gap closer, also increases your damage, and at rank 1, I don't remember what rank 1 is it, 3%? Yeah, but it's 3%. So 3% at rank 1, which is quite good still, for a rank 1 ability and a free gap closer. And just because I was taking a lot of damage that early game, and I wasn't playing super smart there. I mean, my creep score is only 9, which is pretty bad. But looking at this game, everyone's creep scores looks to be pretty bad so far. Keep in mind this is about a 1200 elo game, so by no means am I pro, and by no means am I totally bad. I mean, obviously I have a lot of work to improve in my game, but that was a good charm on her part, so I just E'd the mini behind her just so she couldn't follow up with any auto attacks, although I know her auto attacks don't do much. Alright, anyways, kind of gotten off the topic here, but as I have said multiple times, the fact that in solo queue, champions, or in solo queue, the players in general, they don't really have good communication for the most part. Obviously, communication is a major reason why so a lot of people consider solo queue or elo hell and all of that. And regardless of where you stand on that, I'm not gonna go over where I stand on elo hell and all that. But just because of that, a lot of times it's really nice because if you every time you build talent, you should always be guilding boots and mobility. And the reason I went that way was because of Xin. I did obviously see him there, so I wasn't just leaving him out. I don't know why Xin was trying to go back to Ari there, but I did run back just to try to bait him out a little bit. Like I was saying though, every time you go with Talon, you should be going back, and every boots you should always be getting boots and mobility, at least in solo queue. Just for the fact that his roaming skills are quite impressive. I don't know what we were doing. I think Xin and I were talking there, which obviously is never the smartest thing in the world to do, but it was I'm missing a lot of CSism. I think this is when I also had my armor pen runes and not my attack damage runes on. And I personally started using attack damage runes ever since the nerfed armor pen. Some people feel different. I knew Hecarim was probably on his way back, so it's probably not the smartest idea to go push the wave. Just because at this point in time, the fact that I'm starting 2-0 against her, that Hecarim's not going to want, or Hecarim's going to want to camp me. Sorry. So it's probably best that I go back. And obviously the reason right now I was telling Xin was going to come to blue buff, and that's what we're pinging at now, but obviously Rengar's Pantheon needs a little help against Rengar up in top lane. So that obviously didn't go. And for all you junglers out there, even though Talon is AD and he's not an AP mid, you should still be getting him your blue buff. The second blue buff or the third if you're a blue heavy jungler, or if you got invaded or something like that happens. Just because he is very dependent on it as well as being an AD caster. And a quick tip for Talon players there is never use your Q until after you do one basic auto attack, unless you're E'ing then Qing for a kill. Just because then your Q will reset it. Oh, I did get that minion, sweets. Got that one too from red buff. Now I don't know where Ari is. I mean, obviously she's not in lane, so I only can assume that she went back, but she could be going down to bot, so I did tell them to back off, and that's why they're backed up a little bit. Hecarim's obviously in top lane, so the chance she shouldn't be there. But now that the wave is pushed, and let's see how much gold I have here. I have 1,360 to spend. So we should get my boots mobility, and start my brutalizer. Get a few more health pots because I was taking a lot of unnecessary damage, which obviously is a part of me, is why I should become better of a player. I am telling, or Ari is obviously roaming up top lane now that I'm gone, which is very smart for her to do as a mid laner when you're running out, or I'm sorry, when you're, whew, that was really, just Panth died. I don't remember if Panth died, nope. Alright, but I am almost here, so, cleanup crew has arrived. And now, obviously, I didn't want to just tower dive him just because I know Rengar does have, with his heal. No, we don't want to watch top lane. We want to watch or bot lane. We want to watch Talon here. And now with the wave push, he's gonna try to cut me around it, but there's not much he could do at this point in time. And I did flash just to try to reduce 1 or 2 more tower hits that I could have gotten because I was slowed by his E. So there's a chance I could have died if I didn't flash there. Better safe than sorry. I did burn a summoner spell during that, but I did get 2 kills out of that. See right there, you just see how much burst damage he has, which is why he's perfect for a gank with a jungler or without. I get the brutalizer next, just because so I can get some armor pen going just for the base armor that people have. And I did also see that, and you see also that Rengar has Ninja Tabby and a cloth armor. And right now, I don't know if I'm going to bot lane to help them out. I don't remember what I'm doing here. Oh, no, I'm just taking red. I asked in if I could have it because I'm doing pretty well right now. He says it's fine, so. And that's another thing for junglers. If you're mid laner, or your top lane I should say, because normally it's not your mid laner. I did see that ward go down, just so you know. That's why I did not just sit in that bush and see if she was. But at this point in time, just because how much burst damage Talon has already, there's just not much they can do against you. And this point in time, I can just go. I did get that one. And this time I can just go and farm up a little bit. Obviously, my team is doing quite well too. Part of that due to me that ward there. So, but Pantheon ended up living. How much health did he have? He did not have much. Less than 50 health. So. As you can see, this game is snowballing out of control for the other team. The fact that a Talon who has high mobility has already gone and ganked top lane, gotten a double kill there, who got the first blood as well. So there's not much for this team to do, and this is like I said, this is a good reason. Talon is just a snowball king. The only thing that you do need to be very conscious about with Talon is you need to be very conscious about how much mana you have, as he is a caster. He relies on his abilities more. And in the late game sense, when you play him late game, a lot of times you want to. I don't think that Ezzy needed to burn that flash there, but we'll go watch me up here in mid. Xin dies, and obviously that was a good gank by Hecarim there. So there was not much that we as a whole I could have done as a whole there. Now with Ahri, I mean, she was out of mana, I guess. I was gonna say if she had some mana, she might have actually should have thought about tower diving me at that low of health. But that was just a good gank by Hecarim, and the fact that the problem that most players have is that me especially, we got cocky. And when that's the one thing that you need to learn, especially with Talon. I notice I do this a lot more. Is that with Talon, I always end up, being super cocky at this point in time if I get to this stage, and that's how you throw games. You throw games by being cocky, there's a lot of things that throw games, obviously, but being cocky is a very big factor of that. But now that I'm back to full health and full mana, and I don't know, is Xin giving me this blue, or did he just take it? He just took blue. I don't know why he did that, obviously, as I need blue. But as you can see, Ahri's doing her best just to keep me at bay. I don't think she should be trying to charm me, honestly, just for the fact that every time she does, I saw her start to move up, and so that was it. That was just an easy kill, and she did burst a flash there. Why, I don't know, because there was no chance of her getting out of that, especially when she didn't even. That was a pretty bad flash too. She could have at least flashed over a wall, but Obviously, at this point in time, 6-0. My creep score could be a lot better. I have been roaming a little bit, but I should have been focused on the creep score a little bit more than I have been. But that's not too big of a deal, just for the fact that I am still out creeping my laner, and I'm actually out creeping their entire team other than their ADC, which is obviously Ezreal. And at this point in time, as when you're at this point in time, let's see how much gold I have too. If you're doing this well, yeah, I have 2k gold, so I do definitely recommend just going back for the BF sword and eventually the Bloodthirster, and I probably get a BF sword here. Hopefully I do. And yep, and the reason why you see me do that is I actually, with just the movement speed, I like to buy a Zeal, and I will get a Trinity Force. I don't rush the Trinity Force. I will get my Last Whisperer first, just because you need that extra armor pen. But I do get a Trinity Force on Talon, as I just believe that the extra health is slightly better. The extra health, the movement speed, all of that is slightly better to have than just the fact of not having it and doing a little bit more damage, because that Trinity Force will obviously give you a little attack damage. So I know she's around here, and so but I didn't know they had that ward there. So I'm at this point in time just trying to figure out where they are and the best way to go in here. But their blue buff is there, so I'm gonna take that. Obviously, like I said, Xin took the ones that I had. And now you're probably gonna ask why I cleared the little minions. I like to get the timer on when I got it, because it's a 5-minute timer. If you don't clear those minions out, you don't know when that's gonna happen. And with the BF sword, there's not really much they can do for damage-wise. Or, I'm sorry, not much they can do for saving themselves there. As you can see, this game is already snowballed out of control for the other team. Obviously, we're only up by 4k, so, a little, 4.5k. So the game by no means are they out of it. But at this point in time, there isn't really a whole lot that they can do. I switched over to Heck Room just because there wasn't much. There was, not really a way that I was going to kill him right there if he just kept running. He came back in, which wasn't smart of him. If he was smart, he would have just kept going and left Sona to die, because there wasn't much he could have done to save Sona. So at this point in time, I can already turret dive a single squishy target like an AP carry or an AD carry. Ezreal's obviously doing fairly well. I mean, he doesn't have a kill at all or anything, but he is, his creep scores, better than everybody else's. And I know a lot of people like to have this set in mind, what creep score they have at a certain time. But the key objective is to have more creep score than your opponents, because obviously you're going to have more money than them. Every game's different. You're going to, some games you're going to have 5 creep score by 20 minutes. Obviously, if you have 5 creep score by 20 minutes, you're doing something wrong. But it's just an over-exaggeration. And we're hitting that mid-game, and so obviously we want to start forcing some objectives. At this point in time, though, there's no way they can contest any of them. So, not really much they could do there. Alright, so then now that there is an 8k gold difference, there's not really much they can do now. Now the game is completely out of hand, now that we have the dragon and we've gotten 3 turrets to their 0. And at this point in time, you can obviously tell that this is just going to be a 20-minute surrender, just because, even though, I try not to surrender in ranked games, but a lot of times there's just nothing you can do to help it. And sorry if you can hear my roommate in the background, but he just woke up from a nap. But so at this point in time, we're just kind of waiting it out just to see, how long until the end of the game, and see if they will surrender at 20 or if we're going to push it. Obviously, I'm just getting some farm up just because I didn't farm very well early game, but as you can see with Talon, I'm 10-0. And to be honest with you, these kind of stats aren't on, they I mean, I don't go 10-0 every game, obviously, but, I generally go positive. You can, LOL king me or whatever. But I generally do actually do this well. This isn't uncommon for me by any means. Which is why I really feel, just because the lack of coordination and communication between teammates and solo queue, there's not much they can do to save them or to stop something like this from happening. I think Talon is a snowball champion, and as there you can see, there's the surrender. And anyways, if you have any feedback on who you think's the best solo queue champion or anything like that, just leave a comment below or let me know. Thanks. Have a great day.